Credit. It's either your best friend or your worst enemy. You can use it to buy a home, refinance, buy a car, or maybe even get a loan for an emergency that might come up. And the better your credit is, the more trustworthy you look to a bank. In addition, the lower your interest rate will be, which ultimately leads to a likely higher loan amount and a better rate on the amount that you have to pay as well. And that's exactly how the rich keep on getting richer. And they're able to borrow a lot more money at cheaper rates and make that money work for them. And it sounds great in theory, but for most people, what ends up happening is because they don't have the right education on how to use credit or how to build up credit, they typically have lower credit scores, which means banks are either reluctant or will not give them a loan at all. And the ones that will give you a loan will likely give you worse rates and a lower amount, which will likely lead you not to be able to get the right loans for the purchase that you might want. For example, a car, a house, or even better yet, assets like the rich. Essentially, it's a game that is rigged for the mega wealthy, or at least the people that know how to play the game of money, and also unfavorable to those who don't know how to play or just never learned. Which is exactly why I wanted to make this video, because at the end of the day, credit is super important to have, and in order to have good credit, you have to know how the game is played. And today I'm sharing with you how to not only check your credit, but also what to look for in terms of what's a good credit, what's a bad credit, and finally, how to boost your credit virtually overnight. Of course, this is the stuff we should have learned in school, but unfortunately we didn't. And so instead, we are learning it in the school of YouTube. And before we dive in, just want to introduce myself for those of you who are joining the channel for the first time. My name is Rue. I've been an investor and business owner since 2009. I have no courses, no seminars, nothing to sell you. All I want to do is make you richer than you were yesterday. And today we're talking about how to boost your credit. So first, before we can actually go ahead and boost our credit, we have to know what our credit is. So how do you find out this mysterious score? Well, if you do your banking online, you probably have a credit report that you can find on a banking website. But if you think that that's the only way to do it, you'd be wrong. Unfortunately, that's not a detailed credit check, and that's kind of what you want. So to get an accurate credit report, this is what you gotta do. All you have to do is reach out to the 3 credit reporting companies. They are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Or rather than calling those places, you can actually do this once a year for free, and that is going to annualcreditreport.com. Not an ad, they are not sponsoring this video by any means, but just like it sounds, it's really easy to do. Probably as easy as a penguin sliding on their belly. Sorry, that's a really weird metaphor, but you kind of get the idea, right? And I know this all might seem boring, but we gotta know what separates a good credit score from a bad one. Generally speaking, a credit score is a 3-digit number, anywhere from 300 to 850. So the lower your score is, the worse it is, the better it is. A good credit score is generally anywhere from 580 to 669. A very good credit score is between 670 and 739. Now, an amazing credit score is anywhere from 740 to 799. And if you wanted an absolutely perfect score, that's obviously anywhere from 800 to 850. That's considered a perfect score.
It was perfect. Perfect.
But overall, if you're in the 700 and up club, pat yourself on the back, because that's not an easy feat. Now to the fun stuff. Let's talk about how to boost your credit score and absolutely obliterate any problems with debt faster than Thanos did with half the universe.
Inevitable.
First, assess your situation. Write down every balance, both positive, negative, your investment accounts, your debts, and see where your money is currently, what your situation is at right now. Second, which I think is pretty important, is to write down what your APR interest on all your debt is, if you have it. Now, if you don't know what that is, or if you don't know how much it is, it's probably not a good thing, but you can always find out by calling the bank that you have the debt with. And third, which is the easiest one to do, is to rank your interest from the highest to the lowest. The fourth is to pay off your delinquent balances. Now, hopefully you don't have any, but if you do and you pay them off, that's gonna help a lot. And most people don't know this, but if you pay those off, especially the ones with like a 30+ late notice, that will have a huge impact on boosting your credit score. Now, obviously missing a payment by 1 day isn't gonna make a huge difference, but if you have a payment due that's been outstanding for more than a month, your score has likely already decreased. And the more it stays unpaid to the credit card company, the more it's gonna hurt your score. If you pay these delinquent balances off, it will virtually stop the bleeding. Normally, in an ideal situation, I'd say pay the highest APR balances off first. But in this scenario where you're trying to boost your credit as fast as possible, you probably wanna pay off the ones that have the lowest balances. That way, you can reduce the amount of delinquent accounts pretty quickly. And I wish more people talked about this, but unfortunately, the big banks or financial institutions, they don't really want you to know this or do it right. Otherwise, how else are they gonna make money off of interest? This one is commonly overlooked, and that is to dispute any credit errors on your credit report. And I know you're probably thinking, do credit bureaus even make mistakes? And the answer is yes. At the end of the day, they're just people like you and I. So they do make mistakes. And so when looking over your credit report, make sure to report anything that looks like you didn't do it. Sometimes that can be just one credit pull or maybe a delinquent payment, but maybe you already paid it. So make sure to look over your entire credit report and find any discrepancies that you can, because if those get deleted, those things could boost your credit score overnight. And a quick note to mention, when you're fighting off these discrepancies, make sure that they're removed from every creditor, or else that might cause some problems of you getting a loan in the future. And that is especially the case when you're trying to qualify for a mortgage. They look really, really deep at everything that you've done. And so the thing to remember is the bigger the loan, the more hoops you'll probably have to jump through. Just like when we bought this home, we had to jump through a lot of hoops to get it. And now that I think about it, there was probably more paperwork that we had to do than John Wick's hit list.
I'm sorry.
The next thing to do is to get your credit utilization below 30%. You can do this really quickly if you ask a credit card company, or maybe a few of them, to increase your credit limit, or you can always ask a family member or somebody that you know for a gift that you can agree to pay back, or talk to them about it. But essentially, you can take that gift and pay off your debt and get it below 30% utilization. Currently, my utilization is around 5%, but optimal utilization is anywhere between 10 and 20%, but under 30 is also fantastic. The reason being is because the banks actually want to see you borrowing and paying back the money, so having it at 0 or having it above 30 doesn't look that good. And the seventh thing that you can do is to make sure that the mortgage or rent payments that you're making each and every month are actually being reported by your landlord or maybe your utility companies. These can significantly increase your credit score as long as you're making payments on time. And if you're not, maybe it's good that they're not reporting these. See, it wasn't that hard, right? So now that you've learned exactly what to do to boost your credit score, go out there, increase that score, spend wisely on your credit card, and if you want to do what the rich are doing, buy some assets with other people's money, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Also, if you want to see the most exciting and awesome side hustles, go check out this playlist here. I think you'll really enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.